If you're a DoorDash driver right now, a lot of your days probably resemble this. Now, I know I've talked a lot about how it's been super slow lately, especially in my area. While this is normal for January, I personally don't think I've ever seen it this slow. I mean, even last year around this time, I still felt like I could usually schedule about a 6-hour shift and go out and make around $100 to about $120 per day. Right now, I'm lucky if I can get an hour and a half scheduled for lunch and 2 hours scheduled for dinner, and even when I'm out dashing, I make only around $17 to $18 an hour, and that's even on the busier days of the week. So now I take you to my theory of what I really think is going on. As we all know, DoorDash changes and updates their algorithm every so often. I mean, they're always messing with our pay, trying to figure out ways to get us to take more orders, make it so no one has a low acceptance rate, make sure people are accepting most orders, etc. First, they had the pay structure where every single order, regardless of the mileage, regardless of anything, was a flat rate of $6.50. Now, this was about 5 years ago. Then there was the whole decline now movement and all sorts of stuff happened. They got caught stealing tips and it was a whole debacle. So they transitioned into a similar pay structure as to what we have now, where the pay was calculated based off of mileage, desirability of the order, and things like that. You could get orders where the customer didn't tip and you only end up making $2.50, but you could also have some where you end up making $21 for only a couple miles of driving. And it was around the change from the $6.50 flat rate to this method that we see similarly to right now, where they added Top Dasher. What Top Dasher was for was to incentivize dashers to accept more orders, get their acceptance rate up to 70%, and in turn you would get a dash whenever you want, and supposedly you would get access to the better orders, and you would also get priority to all of the orders when it was slow. Now they have the Priority Dasher program, where anyone above 50% acceptance rate is supposedly supposed to get priority to the best orders, and when you get your acceptance rate up all the way to 70%, you get extra priority to the best orders, according to DoorDash. So, what's the next step to Tony's master plan? Well, in my opinion, it's to force everyone to become a Top Dasher, and if you're not one, then you can't even schedule a shift, and if you do get lucky enough to schedule, then while you're out driving, you can't make a good amount of money, and so you'll just end up quitting or DoorDash every once in a while, which I think is what Tony wants. I mean, why would he want dashers on the road who think they can make a lot of money if they decline most orders? The way he wants it to work is that people will think you have to accept most orders to make more money. And the more you decline, the more you're going to be sitting around waiting for orders, making less money, which in turn makes DoorDash a less desirable job, which in turn weeds out the people who aren't willing to accept the majority of orders. Now, obviously, I don't know this for sure, but I'm just reading the tea leaves here. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but if you're on YouTube or even watching TV, or Hulu or anything that has ads in it, you see ads to become a DoorDash driver. And it shows like some absurd pay that you can make $25, $30 an hour, something like that. And it shows these unrealistic goals. Now, what I think they're trying to do is get as many dashers as possible, to where if you want to make money, you literally have to be a Top Dasher, because if you're not, then you're not going to get that priority and you're going to end up just sitting around waiting for so long. So that's why they're really pushing, trying to get as many dashers in as possible. Because as far as the analytics go, there are a lot more DoorDashers being added to the workforce than there are customers using DoorDash. So you can see why that might cause some problems for already existing dashers. More dashers on the road means less orders to go around, which means more sitting around waiting, which means the people who have the highest acceptance rate are going to get the good orders and actually be making money while they're out on the road, while the other people sit around like peasants and don't get to make any money. And it just makes sense for DoorDash to push something like this. I mean, they want all of their orders to be picked up in a timely manner and be delivered to the customer as quickly as possible. Because if that doesn't happen, then they end up with lots of complaints, lots of refunds because the customer gets cold food, and that in turn makes DoorDash lose customers. And if orders aren't being picked up quickly, then they're just losing money, because the more orders DoorDash can get completed every single hour, the more money they're going to make. If you have as many Dashers on the road as possible and they're all accepting every single order, then that maximizes DoorDash's ability to get as many orders done as possible, which in turn gets them more profit. So I don't blame them for wanting this to happen. I'm just telling you guys the reality of where I think this shift is coming and why I think things are even more slow this year than they've ever been. I mean, yeah, there's talks of a recession and stuff, but actually the holiday sales for Christmas and whatnot tell a different story because those were actually up from the past year in 2021. So the year 2022 year's sales for Christmas, Black Friday, all that stuff was actually higher than the year before. So are we in a recession right now? Well, that's not necessarily confirmed. So I think it actually has to do more with what I'm talking about in this video than people not having the money to spend on DoorDash. So I'm not a top dasher right now, and I think that's why I'm seeing less pay than I was last year. And I could be wrong about this, but I really think that acceptance rate does help out your pay a little bit. And so I think that's leading to me seeing a lower dollar per hour than I'm used to seeing in January. I mean, this is my 4th January dashing, and as far as I'm aware, it's been the slowest ever, which is weird because DoorDash is only getting busier and busier as far as customer acquisition goes. So if you're seeing the same thing I am and it's just super slow right now, I highly recommend downloading the Solo app because it is a great pair for any DoorDash driver. They have a lot of tools on there, including a mileage tracker, which every Dasher needs. And so if you want to check out some of their great features and get a bonus $10 for just signing up, then go ahead and click the link down below in the description, because with DoorDash being so slow right now, I think we could all use a little extra money. And so yeah, it's there in the description if you want to download it and check it out. So as far as the future goes for DoorDash, I think in 2024, you will actually have to have an acceptance rate of above 50%, maybe even 70% in that top dasher range to even get orders on the regular. Yeah, if it's super busy on a Saturday night or something, they're obviously going to want to get as many orders done as possible. So those people who cherry pick will be able to get regular orders as well. But I think for the slow times and for Tuesdays and Wednesdays throughout the week, you're going to have to be a top dasher because there's just going to be too many dashers who have signed up and are working on the roads for DoorDash. So you're going to want to have as many advantages as possible, and DoorDash is making it to where you have to have a higher acceptance rate to get those advantages. And I think also in the near future, we could be seeing lots of deactivations for anyone with an acceptance rate that drops below 50%. And I know that Lyft kind of does something similar to this. If you decline, I think it's 50% of the rides that you receive, then you are at risk for deactivation. And I think DoorDash is probably going to implement something like this to where if your acceptance rate drops, then you're just screwed. And it's going to force you to have to become a top dasher or accept at least 50% of orders. The bottom line is that DoorDash can't have orders just sitting at restaurants not getting picked up, because then they get rated poorly and they lose customers. And they have to issue out more refunds, which makes them lose money. In order to stop that, they have to incentivize people to accept every single order. And they literally can't afford to have dashers who don't follow this. So yes, in my opinion, DoorDash is slowly going to force everyone to become a top dasher. So if you enjoyed this video and enjoyed the information that was in it, make sure you subscribe. It really helps me out. And honestly, it just makes me feel good. Lets me know you guys are enjoying the content. And also, if you enjoyed this video, then I highly recommend you check out this video over here because I think you'll like it even more. And I'll see you guys next time.